Oh my goodness, just when you think it can't get any dumber, it always does. And I wasn't going to do a video today. I was actually going to take a break, but I can't help myself. I was just sitting here working on something completely different, and the federal budget was just announced. I was going to stay away from this because the political stuff doesn't really do it for me. And this year, there's a lot to do with housing and all that stuff. And I figured there's enough great YouTubers out there that are going to cover this and get the information out. But then I read the coverage from CTV here, and I'm going to make a little bit of a commentary, in my opinion, in regards to one of the housing budget items. But before I do, I'm going to ask that you subscribe. Most of my videos are better than this one, but I ask that you subscribe to the channel to see those and help me get this community to grow just a little bit bigger. We're over 5,000 subscribers now, so I really appreciate each and every one of you. And if you could, or if you find any of this information or my terrible sense of humor and commentary valuable at all, please make sure to click the like button to help me get this information out to more people through the YouTube algorithm, because hey, that's how YouTube works. The more like buttons, clicks, and comments down below, the more people I can reach and hopefully show them how ridiculous this new measure is. So let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, I'm not gonna go all the way through it, but let's show you what I found so amusing here. Basically talking about the federal budget to include a $10 billion housing plan, $8 billion for defense. Interesting. Okay, so there's our lovely lawmakers there, and like I said, I'm not going to cover a bunch of this. Just in case I'll touch on it briefly. There's some sort of home savings bank account that you can basically have, and then of course there's always the promises of we're going to build more homes, which I never actually see happen. I don't think the government does build any homes. But the part that I thought was the absolute best is this section right here. So in case you are unaware, the federal government has completely banned foreign buyers from buying residential real estate anywhere in the country. But not really, because it's just so comical the way this is going to be brought in. Now, obviously, there's no specific details with how this is going to be done and executed, but there is notes exactly. So I'm very interested to see. If you're unaware or if you don't understand in Canadian real estate already in BC, in Vancouver and in Toronto, the taxes are so crazy that the foreign buyers are basically nil at the current time. But the Canada or the current government has, I guess, all parties brought on this idea of like, hey, we have to ban foreigners because that's one of the reasons that our housing is so expensive. Not because we're letting in, $450,000 new or 450,000 new Canadians every year. It's not that. It's not the building is happening way too slow. It's not the fact that interest rates are basically free money. It's none of that. It's definitely the foreign buyers. So let me hop back into it here. Foreign buyers will be banned from condos, apartments, and single residential units. So I'm assuming what they mean by that in my marketplace is condos and townhouses and single residential units. I'm assuming that also means any sort of duplex or what they call back east semis. However, permanent residents, foreign workers, and students will be exempt from this new measure, meaning that everybody is basically exempt from it. So all they're saying is if you're a rich billionaire in China or some other country, you can't buy a new residence here. Well, let's face it, if you were going to do that, you would probably buy it in a company name anyway, and that company would be Canadian, or the corporation would. So maybe they have a work around that, but this is actually the funniest part that I found. Permanent residents, obviously, they were always exempt because they're in the process of becoming Canadian, so they're going to be exempt. Foreign workers. So here in BC and the tax that we have, foreign workers, so people that have moved here, they're not Canadian citizens, they don't plan on staying here long term, they actually still pay the tax. So they're saying those people can still buy houses. In BC, they don't, because they have to pay 20% on $2 million, which nobody would ever be stupid enough to do. They would just rent. Or the best part students. Students will be excluded. Hey, doughhead government. The problem that we had in Vancouver, and I know Toronto likely as well, was that people would just come over. Sorry, people wouldn't come over. Foreign owners would just send their kids over, and their student would, or child, student, that's studying at UBC or somewhere else, would just buy the property in their name. Am I the only one picking up how stupid this is? So it's actually kind of a meme or a joke here in Vancouver that students are the ones on the west side of Vancouver in their billion-dollar mansions driving Lamborghinis around town. So, guys, government, I think you missed it, but let's keep going just a little bit more. Then foreigners who are purchasing their primary residence are also exempt. So you can be foreign, you just can't live foreign. So I would estimate that almost everyone who was a foreigner that was buying homes is exempt from the ban on foreign home buyers. So now let's just keep going here because this gets ever so slightly more ridiculous. The policy change will be legislated, giving government powers to prescribe penalties, and potential judicial powers, easy for me to say, to address the instances of non-compliance, according to a government source. There is no cost attached to this foreign buyers measure yet. So instead of doing something semi-smart, like if I'm going to call a politician that, like they did in Toronto and like they have done here in BC with our foreign buyers tax, where they say you can buy it, but we're going to tax you 20%, therefore nobody actually does buy it. The federal government not only exempted 95% of foreign buyers, but at this point, they've also said, by the way, we're just going to please ask you pretty please don't. And there's also no tax or announced penalty yet at this point to say, hey, once you did do it, once we asked you, please don't, after those few people that were exempt, we don't even know what the penalty is, and we're not going to charge you anything up front for doing that. We're only going to sue you after the fact, which I know will likely never, ever happen. So in my opinion, this announcement of a ban of foreign buyers in the country of Canada for 2 years is nothing more than a headline. Not only does it not apply to the foreign buyers, but if they do buy the property anyway, there sounds like little to no real penalty. I'd be interested to know what you think down below in the comments of how ridiculous this is, or if there's anything interesting that you saw in the budget. Like I said, I'm going to try and stick away from it, but I just couldn't help myself. Please remember to subscribe, click the like button, check out another video before you leave the channel, and we'll see you in a couple of days.